As we have the latest update and the full forecast coming up, NBC Palm Springs at 6 starts right now.
Now, this is NBC Palm Springs.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Olivia Sandusky.
And I'm Mark Mester. Flash flooding happening tonight in 29 Palms. It's prompting road closures.
We have some dramatic images coming in from Mesquite Avenue in 29 Palms to show you this evening. Cars unable to pass as rushing water goes by. You see this road right here, completely impassable. The drivers making the smart move to not go across that road. Flooding has forced road closures across the city of 29 Palms, including a major stretch of Adobe between Amboy and 2 Mile. Indian Trail is also shut down with some sections completely underwater, cars getting stuck. City officials are urging drivers to avoid the area, use extreme caution. On the Marine base, the Ocotillo and Condor gates are closed. Traffic is backed up at the main gate as well, so keep that in mind if you're in that area or your commute takes you that way. We have a live look from our Agua Caliente casino camera here back on the valley floor. You see the clouds there in the distance. Looks dark and gloomy out there as we check in with Chloe Carlson this evening. Chloe, I think one of the scariest things about getting so much rain here in the desert is how fast it comes and how quickly it can flood our desert sand.
Yeah, that urban flooding is just such an issue for us here. Like you said, for portions of the high desert, you were showing video of Adobe Road. Here's a picture of just that dramatic scene. And as Olivia mentioned, with that dust and that sand, yeah, when we're getting those rainfall rates of 3/4 of an inch per hour, which is what they were getting up in the high desert, this is what you can expect along those roads. So yes, a road closure is imminent when we are seeing that flooding. As Olivia mentioned, closing portions of that Marine Gate. Adobe Road is actually leads straight up into the bays. Indian Trail, another issue that runs parallel to the 62 there. So if you do have anybody up in that area, keep in mind, I messaged my husband, let the Marines know just to stay at home. You do not want to be traveling during a flash flooding, which is what we are seeing right now. Flash flood warning for the high desert. Closer to home, just want to mention this. We are seeing lightning for portions of Palm Springs. That was sent in by Camilo, again, a viewer here. Here's a look at that lightning. So a very active weather that we are seeing this evening for us here in the Coachella Valley. Radar showing again, we're looking to see some moisture moving through. At last check, Palm Springs was getting some rainfall down in that area. Also a little bit of hail. We're going to show that video later on in the show. So a lot going on with that system that again is to our southwest. Continue to move forward. We're seeing these bands of moisture though just bring down this heavy rainfall. Thunderstorm around 3:30 is what kicked off that heavy rain in 29 Palms. So that flash flood warning that I mentioned earlier, that's going to continue until 7:15 this evening. And even along with that, that flood watch. So again, flood chances could continue through late tonight for the high desert. Air quality alert did end for us here closer to home with those gusty winds. 83 right now in downtown Palm Springs. Here's a look at your Comfort Air 3-day forecast. So we will see a warming trend as we head into later this week. And the weekend will break down more. You can expect in that full forecast coming up.
All right, Chloe, thank you for that. Desert Hot Springs is about to appoint a new city manager. Doria Wilms taking over the role after serving as deputy city manager since 2021. It all becomes official at tonight's city council meeting. So we find our Alondra Campos this evening, who is inside the council chambers for us. Hi, Alondra.
That's right. We're inside the City Council chambers where in just moments, City Council will publicly announce Doria Wilms as the new city manager. Now, tonight's decision comes after months of very careful deliberations and extensive consideration, which ultimately led the City Council to decide that Doria Wilms is the best fit for this position based on her knowledge rooted in her expertise of the community that really raised her. And so in just moments, Doria Wilms will take the podium to address the city as for the first time as a city manager. And so we'll have all those details coming up for you guys in just a couple of minutes. Now, Doria Wilms does have an extensive amount of experience within the city manager office. She first joined back in 2016, became the assistant city manager in 2019, and then became deputy city manager in 2021, helping the city grow and move forward. Again, Doria Wilms will take the podium in just a couple of moments, where she will also present the strategic plan for the 2025 to 2027 term, and where she will speak about her aspirations for the city and how she plans to really implement them within the residents of the community. For now, I'm reporting live from Desert Hot Springs. Alondra Campos, back to you.
Thank you, Alondra. And it's Pride Month. One city here in the Coachella Valley has already made its mark on the celebration for the LGBTQ+ community. Our Brett Rosen has details from Cathedral City.
Now that we're in the month of June, it's officially Pride Month across the United States. Here in the Coachella Valley, Cathedral City kicked it off here at City Hall, where they rose the pride flag. Here we go! Earlier this morning, as the state flag rose at City Hall, so did the pride flag, marking the start and celebration of Pride Month. Cathedral City officials say it's about honoring all its residents and visitors.
And although we raised it today and we celebrate Pride Month, Cathedral City honors all of its residents and its visitors all year long. The pride flag for us serves as a symbol of that honoring support that we have for everyone in Cathedral City.
Jeffrey Ewell, also known as Ethelina Can, is a drag queen who performs to help charities around the Coachella Valley. Ewell says seeing the city show its support for its LGBTQ+ community is what this month is all about.
And it makes me really proud to be here in Cathedral City because here the HRC has given this city a perfect score of 100%. And I feel that this city includes everybody. We all can coexist and we're all equal. So it's very important.
Money raised from some events during Pride Month will be reinvested back into the LGBTQ+ community.
We are going to be holding our monthly bingo, which is Ethel's Place Bingo here at the Roost in Cathedral City. We're in our 4th year of having a bingo here, which this month, it's going to benefit the Gay and Lesbian Center in Palm Springs.
Jeff McDonald is the owner of Roost Lounge, a gay bar a block away from City Hall. He says Pride Month is the bridge between the queer community and city, and the idea is to have these events to bring people together.
We are just in June. We're going to celebrate Pride all month long to unite and bring people together, and what a great place to have a conversation and bring family together here at the Roost Lounge.
Cathedral City has been the forefront of gay rights for years. This rainbow crosswalk dedicated to the city's former mayor, Gregory S. Pettis. He was the first openly gay elected official in Riverside County. This current city council vowing to support its citizens and continue adding to its history. For NBC Palm Springs, I'm Brett Rosen.
All right, our thanks to Brett Rosen for that. We're going to head out back now to the city of Desert Hot Springs, their city council meeting where a new city manager is about to be appointed. We want to go back out live and listen into words from Doria Wilms. Let's listen in.
Attended our schools, played in our parks, and built a life here. I am overwhelmed with gratitude and pride to now stand before you as your city manager. Desert Hot Springs is more than just my hometown. It's my heart. It's where my roots are planted and where my love for public service began. It is truly the city that built me. I've seen our city grow and change, weather storms and celebrate triumphs. And through it all, one constant has remained: the spirit of this community. It's the people, the neighbors, the business owners, the volunteers, the city staff, my family, who give this place its soul. To be entrusted with the responsibility of helping lead our city forward is both an extraordinary honor and a sacred duty. I do not take it lightly. I know the weight this role carries, and I step into it with a deep respect for those that led before me, a clear sense of purpose, and an unwavering commitment to public service. Being a public servant means putting the community first. It means listening, truly listening, to the hopes, concerns, and ideas of our residents. It means being transparent, compassionate, and bold when boldness is needed, and we all know I have no problems being bold. It means showing up every day, ready to do the hard work, not for recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. I'm passionate about building a city that reflects the best of who we are. A city that is inclusive, resilient, and vibrant.
That was Doria Wilms right there.
To my
Desert Hot
family,
Springs
thank you for
new
your love,
manager. Now,
your
as you can tell, she
sacrifices,
was filmed with emotion
and your constant belief in
absolute
me.
happiness to be able to take on this new
To the
role
council,
within the community
thank you for
that
your
raised
trust.
her. Now, later on tonight,
And
she
to
will
our
be presenting her
incredible city
strategic
staff.
plan for the 2025 to
It has been my
2027
privilege
term,
to
where
work alongside
community
of
members
you.
and residents alike will
And
learn more
now,
about her aspirations for
it
this
is my
city.
greatest
Reporting live from Desert Hot Springs, I'm
accomplishment
Alondra Campos. Back
to
to
be
you.
entrusted to lead.
All right, our thanks to Alondra for that. All right, with the heat up in our temperatures, City of Palm Springs wants to remind everyone cooling centers are now available until the end of September. Locations include the James O. Jesse Desert Highland Community Center, also the Palm Springs Public Library, both open on various weekdays with set hours. Pets are allowed, but they come with restrictions. Martha's Village and Kitchen will run the Palm Springs Access Center daily as a cooling space for unhoused individuals, with overnight shelters available at the Navigation Center.
And there may finally be some signs of life at Indio's long-struggling Grand Marketplace. The mall's owner just got the green light to build 2 new commercial buildings along Highway 111, part of what they hope is the first step in a major redevelopment. At a recent Indio Planning Commission meeting, the company said they're working to bring in a mix of shops, restaurants, and medical offices, including possibly moving some of the few remaining mall tenants into a new space. No timeline has been announced yet. City officials and residents are watching closely, hoping this could finally mark a turnaround for the retail center.
City of Palm Springs will host an AI and Creativity Expo. It's this month. The inaugural event will feature exhibits with AI tools, a workshop led by College of the Desert students, and panel discussions with keynote speakers like award-winning director of The Lion King, Rob Minkoff. Attendees will learn how AI is being used in education, design, business, healthcare, and entertainment. The event is set for June 23rd over at the Palm Springs Convention Center. General admission is $50, but the event is free for students as well as educators. New at 6 o'clock tonight, a Yucca Valley man has been arraigned on federal charges for allegedly threatening to assassinate then-President-elect Donald Trump following last year's election. 73-year-old Thomas Eugene Strevel pleaded not guilty in a Riverside federal courtroom to 3 counts of making threats against the president-elect. The indictment alleges Strevel made several violent posts on Facebook in November of 2024 expressing his intent to kill Trump. Strevel was released on $10,000 bond with a trial set for July 28th. If convicted, he faces up to 15 years in federal prison.
Coming up next tonight, Dollar General just posted a record-breaking quarter. We'll show you what's driving this surge in sales.
Also, it's Tuesday. That means it's time to check in with Crypto Fitz, who's going to tell us all about the big headlines coming out of the Bitcoin Conference 2025.
And we have your gold and silver prices on this rainy Tuesday evening. Stay with us. More headlines right after the break. Welcome back. Dollar General set a sales record last quarter. On an earnings call today, the budget retailer saying it made $10.44 billion in the 3-month period that ended May 2nd. Dollar General earnings have surged to $1.78 per share. That's well above the expected $1.47, all while consumer spending dropped in the U.S. for the first time in 3 years. The Tennessee-based company also raised its expectations for the year, saying it's drawing more middle and higher income shoppers amid fears about higher tariffs. Shares of Dollar General jumped more than 10% after today's call.
The 2025 Bitcoin conference wrapping up in Vegas last week. Our expert, Crypto Fitz, has the big headlines out of that conference.
We hope you've been enjoying the coverage of Bitcoin Conference 2025 in Las Vegas. Today, the final day. So much information has come out the last few days. The high points and the serious points of the last 3 days. Check it out. $11.5 trillion BlackRock managing director at the conference said that Bitcoin has much higher upside than gold. Fast food giant Steak 'n Shake announced that they're saving 50% on their processing fees, accepting Bitcoin payments. Steak 'n Shake now accepting payment for all of their 400 outlets in the U.S. and worldwide. They're taking Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, now the CEO of Block, formerly called Square. Square, that payment app, will now accept Bitcoin at all retail outlets. This is happening in warp speed. The Guinness World Record for most Bitcoin payments in one day was broken. As we've mentioned on this broadcast, New York City Mayor Eric Adams plans to issue Bit bonds for New York. And GameStop just purchased 4,710 Bitcoin. Fun and games in Las Vegas. Serious information about the future of technology and finance intersecting, and the entire financial system being digitized. And there's a lot of fun in that convention as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Next year, Vegas Bitcoin Conference 2026. You know we'll have you there.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Right now, we're taking a live look at the Walter Clark High William and Cam in Rancho Mirage. Much different scene than we normally see, right? Mostly clear blue skies for us here in the Coachella Valley today. A little bit more of those overcast skies with that storm inching its way closer into Southern California. Again, today still slightly off the coast. We're getting those bands of moisture moving in. I talked about it earlier in the show. Hail in the Coachella Valley. This video sent in by our viewer Nikki. Again, this is in the Rancho Mirage area, and we're actually seeing hail of different sizes here. So in that area was the size of the pea there, a marble size. So again, these are the common sizes, but worth mentioning, we're seeing all types of weather today, from the flooding, and again, the lightning and the hail. So it's probably just one of those nights where you maybe want to just stay inside. 100 degrees for the high today, so we are right around seasonal for this time of year. 84 in Palm Springs at this hour, 87 for Thousand Palms. Overnight will be in the 70s here for the low desert. So today, yeah, warm and humid, those scattered showers, a little bit of everything in our sky this afternoon. As we head into Wednesday, that storm will be exiting the region. We'll still have some of that residual moisture for us here in Southern California. Those dew points relative humidity, those numbers will still be high through Thursday this week. So as far as future precipitation, the short range model showing a little movement on the southeast in there of the low desert this evening. It looks to taper off at 9:30. I think there's another band of moisture moving in around midnight. Again, that's going to be to the east of us for portions of Joshua Tree and to the east of 29 Palms. That's going to go into Wednesday morning and kind of move its way. That band of moisture moving to the east of us. Scattered showers also in the North American model showing something similar there. So that's the way for this evening. Like I said, we'll dry out as we get into later this week. Winds will be breezy for Thursday and Friday as we get into this weekend. We are ramping up those temperatures. Here's a look at your Covered Air 7-day forecast. Triple digits back on Thursday. We are 112 by next Monday.
NBC Palm Springs Sports Desk. Brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos. We have your game.
Welcome back, everyone. Time to get into our local sports headlines, and we start with high school track and field. Now, I know what you might be thinking. School is basically over, and so are most sports, and yeah, that's typically the case. But when you run as well as Nick and Jax, two hurdlers on the Palm Desert High School track and field team, means your season just got extended. Junior Nick Danglis and sophomore Jack Penny both had such exceptional seasons, they were accepted to compete in the Nike Outdoor Nationals. Set to take place June 19th through the 22nd. This event takes place at the historic Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon, and only the best of the best in the nation are invited to attend. I caught up with the boys earlier today before they hit the track for practice to learn more about the historic event and what they're looking forward to the most about the meet.
It's going to be one of the best competitions that you can go to for high school. There's a lot of college coaches, and it's a great recruiting opportunity. It's very competitive up there, and I'm just excited to just be in that atmosphere just with all those amazing track athletes. There's going to be good competition there.
As a sophomore, I know that I'm #2 in California. I was kind of like in disbelief, but I'm definitely super excited, definitely super happy to get the opportunity to compete there. The 400-meter hurdles is a college event, and so far in my lifetime, I've only competed in the 300, practiced the 300. So the 400-meter hurdles is definitely going to be a new experience, and a lot of new training regimens will have to come. I'm not nervous at all. I'm just ready to get my backpack.
That backpack Jax is referring to is, of course, the backpack all athletes receive when they compete in the Nike Outdoor Nationals. A backpack both Nick and Jax say is, quote, an absolute flex in the track and field world. Even more so when you realize there's only roughly 15 athletes per event invited from across the nation. And in basketball news, the Lakers will open their preseason once again at Acrisure Arena. They'll play the Phoenix Suns on October 3rd. Tickets go on sale this Friday on Ticketmaster and at the arena box office. They'll also have preseason games at Crypto.com Arena in LA and at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Always a treat when we get some NBA action right here in the desert. That'll do it for sports. I'm Caitlin Kelly.
And now the Agua Caliente Entertainment Report, brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos.
She shines like a peppermint sky in the middle of the night, in the middle of the night. She walks with her Coca-Cola hair.
Some beautiful sounds in our studio this morning. American Idol winner and Indio native Abby Carter back in the Coachella for a special performance. And before she stops at the Palm Springs Unified School District graduation, she stopped by here to play a little for us this morning. After a whirlwind year of touring, writing music, and releasing an album, she says it's been nonstop and deeply meaningful. Very excited to speak to graduates tonight. She says she's currently using her platform to spotlight youth mental health, weaving personal struggles into her songwriting to connect with fans.
Just me and growing up and going through this sort of pitfall of wanting to be a kid and realizing I'll never be that again, and missing that, and thinking like, God, I have so many responsibilities now, and I miss my friends, and I miss the simplicity of life. But then also growing and realizing that looking back in the past stops you from living where you are now, and you might be in what you might consider the best days of your life.
It's been so great to watch Abby evolve not only as an artist, but as a person over these past few years. She says she hopes to inspire graduates to stay open, lean on their support systems, and embrace the changes ahead. We'll be right back.
brighter side of the news is brought to you by Fiesta Kia. Discover the all-new Fiesta Kia located in the I-10 Auto Mall.
All right, we hockey fans know Stanley Cup starts tomorrow, but dog lovers have a matchup of their own to watch. The Stanley Pup dropping the puck this Friday with 32 rescue dogs, each repping an NHL team, hitting the rink for some four-legged fun. Expect names like Braden Pointer and John Snarlson to steal the spotlight, with play-by-play included. All airs on True TV. That's before Game 2. And yes, every pup is up for adoption.
I feel like we have to elevate our pup games now because the jerseys are so cute.
The jerseys
Can we add
are
the jerseys in when we do this? Is
Yeah,
so
because we usually team up with the Palm Springs Animal Shelter, and we did our own Puppy Bowl version. That was very fun. So we'll have to get the jerseys this year.
Yeah, I think I know what we're covering in sports tomorrow, right?
There you go.
All right, that's going to do it for us. We're back here tonight for the latest headlines at 11 o'clock. Please join us for that. But for now, we're going to send things over to Tim O'Brien, who's in for Fred Rogan. He's got the latest with the Rogan Report.
The Rogan Report is presented by The Living Desert.
All right, someone you love has a medical emergency in your home. Well, would you know what to do? Knowing CPR and how to use an AED can be a vital life-saving measure. After all, it's CPR and AED Awareness Week. We're going to talk about it coming up. Well, welcome in on this Tuesday. So before we get into it, I've been thinking, I'm Fred's permanent stand-in on the program, and I think when I host the show, it should have a different name. So we're thinking, tossing some names around. How about the O'Brien Objective? Hold on a sec. Hold on. Kevin, the producer's talking to me. Apologize one moment. No, definitely not. No, he said no, it's not going to fly. But that's fine. I'm going to use it anyway because who knows how long I'll be here. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not, maybe next week. Anyway, I'm Tim O'Brien in for Fred Rogan, who will be back tomorrow right here on the Rogan Report. So let's get into it tonight. Last November, the voters in the Desert Healthcare District approved the lease of Desert Regional Hospital by the district to Tenet Healthcare, including a controversial non-compete clause. Well, on December 31st of last year, the district filed a validation action with the Riverside County Superior Court. Now, the action seeks to have a Superior Court judge hold that the lease and its terms are valid judgments. Invalidation actions seek to eliminate future challenges to the matter that has been validated. Got all that? What does it mean? Well, Rancho Mirage City Councilman Steve Downs joins us tonight to talk about it. All right, let's get right into it, Steve, and thanks again, of course, for taking a few moments. First and foremost, can you simply just explain why the validation action is needed?
Well, I don't think the validation action is needed at all. That's the whole point of the article that I wrote in the Desert Sun over the weekend. I am opposed to the non-compete provision in the lease, and that, of course, is the reason why Eisenhower has filed an objection to the validation action. So the reason, of course, that the Desert Healthcare District has filed the validation action is in an attempt to avoid the ability of other agencies and organizations to object to the lease and the non-compete in the future.
So just simply put it and break it down for somebody that's starting from the beginning, can you tell us exactly what the non-compete clause means?
Sure. So the Desert Healthcare District leases the Desert Regional Hospital to Tenet Healthcare. And they do that for a very good reason. The reason is that Tenet Healthcare is a better operator than the district would have been had they attempted to operate the hospital themselves. So I support the lease of the hospital to Tenet. Now, when the lease came up for renewal, or actually it's due for renewal in 2027, but it was on the ballot, the voters voted for it, or on this ballot item in November of 2024. The reason it was on the ballot is because it's required to be on the ballot if the lease is to be extended. Now, when it went on the ballot for extension, what Tenet also did was they asked the district to accept a non-compete clause. Now, the non-compete clause, it contains complicated language preventing the district from making grants to healthcare organizations that compete with Desert Regional. But make no mistake, the non-compete is aimed at a single healthcare provider, just one. It's aimed at Eisenhower Health. And I don't think that's right. And the reason I don't think it's right is because the district certainly collects funds from the lease from Tenet, but the district also collects funds from property tax dollars paid by property owners in the district. Those property tax dollars are then used by the district to make grants to healthcare providers around the district to provide for healthcare betterment for the entire community. Now, to eliminate the single most qualified healthcare provider in the Coachella Valley is, in my opinion, wrong, and a misuse, or at least the non-compete is inappropriate.
Can Tenet pull out of this lease if and when, if they wanted to?
I don't. I frankly, I'd have to take a look at the cancellation provisions. I'm guessing the answer is probably no, but I'm not positive.
So lastly, and we can end with this, Steve, somebody just say, I don't agree with you, and I tell you I don't agree with you. What is your rebuttal back to them?
My rebuttal back to that is that if you don't agree with me with respect to the lease, actually, I'd have to ask you a couple of questions there. If you don't agree with me with respect to the lease itself, I'd have to say, well, 72% of the residents in the district did vote for the lease. If you are telling me that you disagree with me with respect to the non-compete clause, I'd have to say that here's what happens. This is a public agency. It was established by the state legislature. It was established by the state legislature to operate the hospital and to provide grants for responsible healthcare providers around the district. I very much doubt that the legislature had in mind that the district would accept from grants one of the best providers of healthcare in the entire Coachella Valley.
All right, Steve, thanks again for the time. Of course, you can see this article in its entirety, desertsun.com. It's articulated well, highly educated piece, and we thank you for your time, Steve.
Happy to be with you today. Thanks very much.
All right, so let's talk about it, as we always do. We'll bring in our guest tonight, owner of Sherlock Holmes Watch, Tammy Bleck, and CEO of Barton CPA, Chauncey Thompson. And, of course, Tammy, we will start with you. Do you agree with Steve's opinion?
I absolutely do agree with Steve's opinion. The last time I checked, competition is a good thing. It helps us all. But this specifically seems very wrong. The non-compete clause is wrong. It doesn't serve our community. It doesn't serve you and me. And in fact, that really is who it affects. Throwing it to you, Chauncey. What do you think?
Tammy, I'm sorry. I have to disagree. I think there's another component that we're missing here. If Measure AA did not pass, the taxpayers would have had to foot a bill to have Desert Regional recertified for earthquake infrastructure, which would have been upwards of $250 million on the backs of property owners here in the Coachella Valley. So by them stepping in, that eliminated an issue. This is simple to me. If I was a business owner and I opened up a new location and I did tenant improvements on that building, I'm going to ask for exclusivity rights so another company cannot go in that same premise or same property and open up. Yes, I am excluding out competition, but they're making a huge investment, not just in Palm Springs, but throughout the whole Coachella Valley.
Chauncey, and obviously respect both opinions here. We haven't met somebody that actually disagreed just yet. So, Chauncey, given your side of it, of course, I'll go back to you. Do you think Tenet could pull out of the non-compete if not validated?
Oh, I would bet they would pull out, and it would be disastrous for the whole valley. So I hope that this is validated. I hope Tenet stays. But listen, this is a business decision. They're here to save lives, but at the same time, they're making an investment and they want to see the return on it.
All right, so we're just getting started here with our contributors and our topics here tonight on the Rogan Report. So Tammy and Chauncey, sit tight here for just a moment. Now, stalking has been an issue longer than it's even had an official name. Recent programs like Amazon Prime's Swarm explore the dark side of obsessive fandom and its outcome. In 1990, in response to high-profile stalking incidents, particularly the stabbing of actress Teresa Saldana and the murder of actress Rebecca Schaeffer, California's anti-stalking law was passed. But the bill had a loophole allowing stalkers to manipulate and terrorize victims by threatening their pets. Now, the California Senate has passed a bill unanimously to close that loophole. Now, the bill will expand the current stalking crime to include threats to pets, service animals, and horses. Now, pets are family members, but when stalkers threaten these beloved companions, the law currently offers no recourse. The bill now moves to the Assembly. So we'll bring in our contributors again. And Tammy, I'll start with you. Should pets be offered the same protection as their owners?
I think that it's ludicrous that they have not been offered the same protection. They are family members. There's no question about it. And they are important on so many levels. But they're also, what is that called? Collateral damage. They've been manipulated. And it's terrifying and it's unjust. And I have no tolerance for it. Not a bit. Chauncey?
I agree with you, Tammy. I'm shocked that we're just now finding out about this. I would have thought here, especially here in California, this would have been law many, many years ago. So the protection of animals, we treat them like humans. Look, many of them sleep in our beds. They sit on our laps. They go to the grocery store. They even sit with us at restaurants sometimes. So why not?
Well, in the film Fatal Attraction, Glenn Close kills a bunny belonging to her obsession's family to get to him. Did you know that incidents like that were far more than just a Hollywood fantasy? This happens, Tammy.
I know. You know, there's a special place in hell for people that do things like that. Obviously, they're sick, but vote for me and we can have public hangings on Sunday for people that do things like that.
There's your punishment. Chauncey, what do you think? If a known stalker, they harm a family member or a pet, what should their punishment be?
I agree with Tammy. It's just, I don't understand it. I mean, I understand there's people who don't like animals, but to kill somebody out of passion or love or addiction, whatever it is, it's just absolute asinine to me.
Could not agree more. Sit tight. We'll just get this going. And pets are family members. And Tammy, I agree. And Chauncey, special place in hell for someone if you do that. Now, everyone should treat your pets well. That's how you become a good neighbor. Speaking of animals, Hal in Indian Wells looking for a dog groomer familiar with a standard long-haired dachshund who's a former show dog. Tanis in Rancho Mirage needs some relaxation, looking for a great massage to relieve a lot of back pain, looking for a good 90-minute massage. So I'm going to follow along with that thread and find out, because I could use one myself. Irene in Palm Desert looking to find information of the auction of manufactured homes. And Ken in Thousand Palms, being a great neighbor, he's wishing everyone will have a good day. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you.
We're in the desert. Give us your hot take. Find Fred on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fred Rogan.
You can also email thedesertdean@gmail.com. Don't desert us in the desert.
Well, you're at home and a family member collapses. Would you know what to do? Oh, welcome back. June 1st through the 7th each year is National CPR and AED Awareness Week. spotlighting how lives can be saved if more Americans know CPR and how to use an AED. Well, an AED is an automated external defibrillator designed to be user-friendly with clear instructions and can be used by anyone. Well, 70% of out-of-hospital cardiac arrests happen right at home. If you are called on to give CPR in an emergency, you most likely be trying to save the life of someone you love. Well, here to talk about CPR and the use of an AED is Cathedral City Fire Chief Michael Contreras. All right, Chief, let's get right into it. Thanks for taking a few moments. And simply put, just tell us all about CPR and Awareness Week, AED Awareness Week.
Yeah, you know, it's really important. It's that time that we are really able to put the focus on the things that save life. You know, first of all, CPR. Been doing this for 35 years, and every life-saving event usually starts with CPR. So I think that's the first thing, is reducing those barriers for people's understanding, and a lot of time their fear of wanting to do something. A lot of people don't want to get involved. So what we say is the first time, learn to get comfortable with it. And that starts with the training. You know, Cathedral City offers what we call sidewalk CPR. That's kind of an entry point. So it gives you the information, the basic information to, number one, know what to do. Number two, recognize what the signs and symptoms are of someone having a heart attack or having a medical emergency. And then finally, that circle of life that is completed with the AED, and learning how to, you know, get that training also. We recommend that, you know, if you can't do it all at once, at least start the process so that you can get it going. And it might take you a year, but it will definitely make a difference in the potential of saving someone's life.
To simplify it for somebody that maybe doesn't know the difference between CPR and using an AED, when to know to use or do one and not the other.
Yeah, you know, with a lot of the AEDs that are out there now, they talk to you. So as soon as you put the pads on the patient, they will sense whether they're in a shockable rhythm or not. On the CPR part, and I know this sounds tough sometimes, but people are hesitant because they're afraid they're going to hurt people. And if you've ever done CPR, it can be a traumatic event. But what I always tell people when I used to teach CPR is, if you don't do something in the next 3 to 5 minutes, that person is going to be dead. So recognizing those signs, the symptoms, and then the interventions that you can do, they can make all the difference in the world.
Just how often does the Cathedral City Fire Department offer these classes?
We offer them quarterly, and we just, I'm going to say 2 months ago, became to take our what we call sidewalk CPR, which is our entry point for CPR. We're now going to do American Heart Associations, and we'll be doing our first class on those in September. If you can't come to Cathedral City Fire, you can go through the American Heart Association, the Red Cross. There's a lot of organizations that provide those type of services. And again, I can't say this enough. Go learn something, right? I've had people come and go, okay, you know, I just want to learn this part. In this case, we want a fully trained person, but something is better than nothing.
Well, Chief, we thank you for taking a few moments this evening. Certainly going to do our best to spread that word as well, to get out there and get certified and learn something. Chief, thanks so much, and stay safe.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, let's welcome in our contributors again. And Tammy, I'll start with you. Do either of you, and Tammy, do you know CPR or how to use an AED?
I absolutely do. And I do it a training every 3 years. I'm a total preparedness freak. I want to be prepared for anything. I have never had to use it on anyone, but I will say that someone did have to use it on me. So you never know where you're going to be and what the circumstance is. You know what? It's so easy to learn. And it has such a comfort level that you can actually, this stuff, like programs like this just really excite me. I know it's very nerdy of me, but it's great for our community. I mean, learn the stuff. It's not that hard.
Chauncey?
No, I agree. I was licensed for CPR and AED. Now, Tammy, you reminded me I need to recertify my license, and I also need to make sure my staff is licensed as well to ensure that if someone in the office or a client comes in and is experiencing difficulties, they know how to respond.
Good point. That's a really good point. And by the way, maybe it's even more important that the people around us know how to do it in case we need it, right? So, there is that.
It's true. I think everybody, and sadly, if I took 10 people here in our newsroom, I bet you more than half don't. And it's not because they don't want to, it's not something you think about on a daily basis. Now, Tammy, you had mentioned someone had administered it on you. Chauncey, have you ever had to administer CPR?
Thankfully, I have not, but and I not had to have it received on me as well. So, but I'm going to be swift and jump into action if needed.
Likewise, and let's hope it all stays that way, and we never have to do it or have it on us, and we stay healthy. Sit tight here in just a moment. Before we go to break, though, I need you to knock 3 times and then roll the dice.
Riddle me this. What is so fragile that saying its name breaks it?
I've not gotten one of these in all the times I've filled in, so I'm looking forward to the answer. Meanwhile, it was 1934 when gambling first came to the Coachella Valley. It wasn't exactly legal at the time, and it was brought here by a tribe that you may not be familiar with.
These visitors from Detroit were called the Purple Gang, and they were a mob of predominantly Jewish gangsters known for hijacking and bootlegging. Al Wertheimer and his brother wanted to start a gambling operation in Palm Springs. They offered to open a plush nightclub, which would create jobs and fill local hotels. They promised to increase the revenue of this area, which was being financially starved due to the effects of the Great Depression. The Palm Springs city officials were adamantly opposed to gambling within the city limits, so Al Wertheimer purchased 20 acres of land in Cathedral City, which was at that time an unincorporated county, and built the Dunes Club, a plush nightclub and casino which would attract such notable figures as the Ritz brothers, Humphrey Bogart, and Ronald Reagan. Al Wertheimer would then open 2 more gambling operations in Cathedral City, the 139 Club and the Cove. Then, in 1941, California Governor Earl Warren pledged to clamp down on illegal gambling operations. The clubs were raided, the gambling equipment was seized, and Al Wertheimer was arrested. Recently, the structure that was the Cove, which later became Cathedral City's Elk Lodge, burned to the ground. This fire claimed the last remaining link to that period of history. For Desert in a Minute, this is NBC Palm Springs historian Steve Sumrall.
Oh, we could do a whole show on why sports gambling needs to happen right here in California. Anyway, your daily dose of cuteness when we return.
The Rogan Report was presented by the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens.
What is so fragile that saying its name breaks it? Silence.
I didn't want to break it. All right. Let's get to a couple comments tonight. Did I get you back there, Max, Kevin? All right. It's about our segment where we talked about fast food workers unable to pay for fast food. Gary had this to say to our contributor, Brian Harnick. Mr. Harnick, the concept of an entry-level job is no longer viable. Whether a young adult or senior, these jobs are needed to survive. As for capitalism, the fast food industry grossed $417 billion with profits exceeding $33 billion. Capitalism is surviving. All right. Well, Diane had a different option. Pay them more. Raise the minimum wage again. Owners won't pass the cost on to us. Tongue firmly in cheek. Now remember, NBC Palm Springs works around the clock 24/7. You can head over to our website, NBCPalmSprings.com. Select on the Rogan Report. You know the drill. Wheel of Fortune's next. We'll see you at 11.